SPYs yesterday were pretty quiet again. Ticked down late morning to 260, I guess. People were waiting there with their bids. Came back up and didn't move the rest of the day in like 10-cent range. This morning, right at the all-time high, a little bit higher there. So intraday ranges continue to be extremely tight, just consolidating above prior highs. What we would need to see to believe in one of those $4 to $6 pullbacks in the SPYs is just intraday range loosening up again. Not just a one-off, but 2 out of 4 days, 3 out of 6 days, something like that. And we start to look for those pullbacks. IWM, we highlighted yesterday's morning meeting that 151.5. Apparently it was the new 150.50, where it topped out back in, was it October? October back here before it started to hold a little bit lower, then loosened up, then we had the down move. 151 is starting to act like that now. I highlighted yesterday's meeting that it kept on failing there. Did the same thing on the open yesterday. Did come back, and we talked about a test of 150.50. Prior resistance now becomes support. And right at the end of the day, it did touch that 150.50. So it's about as clear as you can get. Don't have to change any of the markup from yesterday morning meeting. This is the resistance. If you get a close up here, then potentially starting a new leg. Close below 150.50 brings 149 to 148.80 into play. All right, Momo. So obviously the conference call is not going well because the EPS beat and revenue beat were very impressive. They did do inline guidance, but if we look at the daily chart on this, it's not like, I guess it did quadruple from the lows here from $10. Anytime I see like a large beat like that on the EPS side and on the revenue side, the stock's getting beaten down, I want to see where is it in relation to the highs. If the stock was up in this area up here, near recent highs, then I would say, okay, they're looking for raise guidance or something like that to maintain this huge move that's happened over the last year or so. In the last 18 months, it has gone from 10 to the 40s now. So now it's just up 150% with today's gap down, and it's coming into the recent pullback. So I guess this brings this into play. So we got a pretty clean downtrend to work with from the pre-market. It's doing good volume now, really good volume. Broke down below, it's like 28. What do I have on the sheet? 27.5 to 28. In the pre-market, they were trying to support 28.30. Now it's below 28. So sellers are in control. So it's 27.5 to 28 is what I got off the daily chart for support. Let's say it holds this 27.5 in the pre-market, or it dips below, and on the open gets back above 28. It starts to hold above 28 here, and then gets above 28.30 and holds. Then you would look for a bounce back up into this area right here. It gets up to, it comes down in the pre-market below this 27.50, gets back up and fails at 28. Then you can look for continued downside. I'm hard to envisioning it getting much lower than another $2 to $3 below where it is right now, bigger picture. So bigger picture, if it got closer, got to 25, I'd probably want to look at putting on a longer term position. Let us take a look at Thor, THOR. I'm sorry, THO. The name is Thor, the symbol is THO. I wrote THOR on the sheet. I'll change that. So here's the daily on it. So this is actually a business in the Midwest in Indiana. It sells, I think they sell like RVs, trailers. They've been crushing it. You can see here's what it's done the last couple of years. It started here, this consolidation between 40 and 60. And it broke out, got up to 117. filled this earnings gap here down to the high 80s. It's maintained this uptrend. Now it's kind of moving up outside of this channel. It's starting to get vertical. So let's see where we want to go back to the beginning of the year to see where we were. Beginning of the year, we're about $100 stock. So with today's gap, it's up over 50% for the year. The numbers were unbelievably impressive, and they did say they look for continued strong growth next year. They just said there is now a little bit of a labor pressure. They're looking for more workers in northern Indiana, and the labor market's tight, so that might cut into earnings a little bit, but it's a growth story right now. I mean, demand obviously is extremely high. There you go. There's some feedback in the chat. People traveling in RVs. So great story. The question really for us is it getting a little bit ahead of itself? It's hard to say if it's, NVIDIA, it's one thing for that stock to go from 40 to 200 on the next wave of artificial intelligence, graphical processors. That's a global trend versus a strong domestic trend. I don't know, outside the Midwest, what other areas where the RV is really strong into the West, Colorado, Rockies. So that's the kind of the idea. It's up 50% now. It is a real world company, not a technology company. Similar to a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when the housing stocks tripled off their lows, then they moved sideways for a couple of years. Is this now just setting up to pull in? The way that I would look at it is there is no resistance. It's at all-time high. You'd want to see, on the open, does it do some sort of move up? Does it come off really hard and get below 150? It has to do something like this. It has to take out the after hours low, 149. It has to come in at least to 148, and you have to see it make a lower high and take out the low. Then you would play it back down. Who knows where it will go? 144, 145, maybe even goes all the way back down to 140. Again, not based on the numbers. They're really good. Just based on what it's done relative to the recent past. It's just run up a ton for a real world type stock. I would think that if it comes in right on the open to 150, 149, catches a bid, and you see it holding above 150, definitely want to look for it on the long side. We just want to be careful as it gets up to the 152 area, this right here. In terms of volume, it's only done 24,000 shares in the pre-market, so we can't really make any judgments there. So those are the two fresh in play. Obviously, we highlighted yesterday these blockchain stocks. We made a lot of money on the desk yesterday in those. And then also Roku and Square made big moves in opposite directions as well. So let's start with SQ. I probably didn't do a good enough job. I talked about the downside in it, but I maybe didn't emphasize enough. Here's the basic idea. When you look at something on the daily and it has an uptrend like this, and then it goes vertical like this, when it breaks the very much the steeper uptrend, it can come off a lot. And there was no real consolidation. You have to go back down to 37.50, I guess. And then there was a little consolidation here at 40 as well. So one day for it to come all the way back down here was a lot. It's at 40 right now in the pre-market. I nibbled a little bit on the long side, but the breakout really did happen above $38 here. So it does look like they might actually try to, let's say 39, but it wouldn't be, from a longer term perspective, buying it into this breakout here into 38, 39-ish, or move back up to the mid 40s. That would be the longer term trade. Let's zoom in. So I guess this is the one that I shorted into, and then I was off the desk after it took out the morning low below 45. Anyone who shorted it, below 45, it was a good trade down until it looks like 43, and then into the close when it took out the 43, it went down another $2.50. So it was very clean. And these, it changes. These changes happen where, we saw it the first day, we shorted into these pops, and then it came off in reverse. Did a double top a couple of days ago. When it takes out that 46, when these people bought on this first down day, get caught, and then it gets below the prior few days, below 44. Then people hit the panic button, and you get a move like this. So it's now getting back down to kind of this area right here, 39.40, 39. For it to overshoot from here today, that would kind of be a lot, 39 to 39 and a half. But ultimately, over the next week, for a few days. If it came back down into this consolidation area, this is where I'd be looking. It catches up to the shallower uptrend. Be looking to put on a longer term position, kind of resume this more normal uptrend. XNet. So XNet, I feel bad for people who don't have it overnight. Obviously, this is one when we're in the mid-teens, when we started looking at it, we talked about it wasn't really looking like a short. It did go vertical from 16 to 24. Started to show some topping action yesterday. Never got back up to 26. Once it gets below 24, I would assume a lot of people started to short it there. Once it held below 24, that was kind of the key level from the 2 days before. It touched it, it came back above. Yesterday morning, sold off hard from there, and then it tried to rally back, failed 23.80, 23.50, and then closed weak. That's why a lot of guys took it overnight, and they were rewarded with a $3 or $4 gap down. If you're not in it already, it's very tough to chase it down here. The first reasonable spot to short it is probably not until 18.5 and 18. It already got up there in the pre-market and came off. Looks like almost $2 already. So that's going to be a tough one. Let's see, 16. It's a third. I just don't know if it has much more downside than $15.5. So we'll see. So I'd be more inclined to be looking for it to be bottoming out between $15 and $16 here. You can see already in the pre-market it bounced $2.50 from the 16 level. This 18 might come into play again. Maybe makes a higher low, a lower high, and then we'll see which side of 18 it starts to consolidate on and use that as a guide. And then finally MARA, which somehow in yesterday's pre-market was above $15. On the open, it spiked up to 10 here. I know Shark got short a lot there. It was very hard to get prints for other people. 10 was kind of the area we were targeting, a pop there to short. Let me zoom in on it for you. And I even thought if it got to 10 and held here and broke to the upside, it could go to 12. But obviously, people were waiting at 10. You can see that little wick right there. Quickly came back down to 960, and it got a little messy. It went down to 8, and guys were reshorting on the pop to 9. And this one here, I think, juked some people out when it went to 930, 940. And then the second down leg to 750 held twice, and it bounced to 850. I think everybody was shorting it into this 850 here, so that's where this kind of broke down from. It came one more time. So it was pretty clean. The open was a little bit difficult, but the rest of the day it failed at 850 a couple times and then took out the morning low. At the end of the day, people were rewarded closed week, and I'm assuming people took it out. Shark is short a lot right now. It looks like he had to short it in the pre-market today. So what did I put for resistance here? I put 5.7. Yeah, I think 5.70 to $6. People would love to be short in this area here. Maybe people would even start nibbling into 5.5. I think the play is now the way it looks. People probably playing it back down to 3.5. $3.25 is the level here from 2 days ago. So that's when people are heavily short on the desk now. Lower price, but won't be as volatile as XNET. That's why I put it before MARA. So there's some other ones I didn't mention. All of these, all the second day and technicals I listed there, all 4 of those, especially the first 3. There's just a lot of price action. Even Roku, I tweeted yesterday when it broke out above on the daily, it was just so clean. So it's back up at the high where we shorted it the other day and then it dropped $10. It's a little bit different when it gets up here the second time. It could fail here initially and come off a couple of dollars and then resume the uptrend. Very powerful that it's back up here in the 48, 49 area. You need to tag 50. But the buy was yesterday when it got above probably $42. It's extended now short term. And see initial opening drive, moved sideways, went up, retested the breakout area, closed strong, heavy volume, gapping up this morning. Maybe it comes back down, retests 45, 46 at some point in the morning, then you can kind of see if it catches a bid there. This area right here. I'm sure there'll be sellers into $50, at least initially. It is momentum. It is a supply-demand issue. There's not a lot of shares outstanding or available to trade. Couldn't get locates. There you go. So there's not too many shares available, which furthers the reasoning why it's going vertical. I don't think it's probably going a ton higher than $50. Like years ago, remember when GoPro went from like 50 to 90? But it could go to the mid-50s, maybe even $60. But the good news is it's a stock that we should be able to make a bunch of trades off of, at least for the next couple of quarters.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.